Today's Neos Academy is on time billing and invoicing and accepting payments and using LawPay. Today, I'm Pam Hodge. I am the business consultant in the professional services department. We have Eric Hill, who is the sales consultant. And then today we have two special guests. We have Abby and Eric from LawPay. Abby is the customer enablement manager, and then Eric is the senior account manager, for partnership with Neos. Say that like 5 times, you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive right into the Neos Academy, and we're going to start talking about how to set up Neos to properly bill. So one of the very first things that you have to do is always do your admin settings. So we're all going to go here to settings, and we're going to go to firm preferences. You start with firm preferences. That way you can turn things on and off. So we're going to go to the time and billing tab within our firm preferences. By default, when you get Neos, this stuff may be turned on, but you have the ability to turn it on and off. So here where we say time tracking, enable time tracking, you can either have it on or you can have it off. If you want it turned off, you just hit the toggle and then turn it on. If you want to specifically say only certain case types are going to do billing, you're going to go here, you're going to hit this drop down. All of these case types are being pulled from the case types that your firm has set up. So any case type that you want to be able to do billing on, you're just going to select them and they're going to populate. And I can select one or I can select all of them. Once I select them, it's going to tell me how many case types that I have. Here, where we set staff, if there are specific staff that needs to bill versus other. So if you have legal assistants or receptionists or admin staff that's not going to be doing billable time, you can make that delineation here. Again, if I hit this drop down, all these names are being pulled from your staff profiles. I can add people or I can take people away if I can go here and unselect them or select them back. Now, billing, default time increments. We have several options. You can bill exact time, or if you bill in 6-minute increments, if you bill in 15-minute increments, this is where you're going to set your default time. We're just going to leave it on exact for our demonstration for today, but you would just go here, select that you want to bill in 15-minute increments or the 6 minutes, and then it's going to automatically change for you. Now, you have what's called a time and value sync. Your default provider should be your firm. The default value code is going to be time. Why is that important? So anytime you are doing the billing and you're creating your time entries and you're doing invoicing, it's going to say all this stuff needs to be billed to Adams, Banks, and Cassidy. All right. To get rid of this, you just hit the X key. And then what you want to do is you select in here, you're going to hit the X key. If I want to find my company name, I just type in the name. And if I could spell correctly, and it's going to look, the more information that you put in, the better it becomes. So as your Banks, Adams Banks, and then you look for the person's name. Once you select that, it will allow you to select the name. Once you select the name, it's going to put the name here. Okay. Go down here. If you are an insurance defense firm that needs your time and billing to be exported out in leads billing, you can enable leads billing, and then you would just need to know your leads firm ID. To turn it on or turn it off, you hit the checkbox to turn it off, checkbox to turn it on. If you want the time to display as a decimal, you're going to turn that on. And when we get to the time and billing, we'll talk about that. If you're going to enable trust, you're going to turn this on. In order for the system to work hand in hand with LawPay, you want to make sure that you enable your trust request. And then you have the option, do you want people to require them to have the bills and the time to be approved before they submit it? We're going to leave it on so we get to see all the functionality with being able to submit time, approve time, and deny time. Okay. Once you make all your changes, you're just going to hit the save button up here. I am going to hit discard because I want to keep everything the way it is. So again, leads billing is specific to insurance companies. Most insurance companies, if the insurance company is your client, they require you to upload your bills in a certain specific format, and the leads billing export will do that for you. Okay. Now that we have our firm preferences set up, we need to talk about staff profiles. As everybody knows, we always say everybody should use group permissions. So if you have your group permissions set up, you can choose who your permission group is. You can go to that group. And the two things that you need to look for are your cases. So if you go to your case and you want to make sure that your person has the ability to add, edit, and modify. They get to see it. They can add time entries. They can modify time entries. We recommend that you don't let people delete, but if you're one of the firms that you do allow your staff to delete items out of NEOS or delete entries without an approval, you can give them that option. Once you have the time tab turned on, you want to go all the way down here to accounting and hit the drop down for accounting. The same thing, you want to make sure that they're able to do all these items. They are able to see it, they're able to add, edit, and then of course, modify or delete. You get to make that decision. Since we are going to be talking about LawPay today, you would want to make sure that you have the ability to use LawPay. And again, if anybody needs to remember how to turn things on and off, you can click this whole button here and it makes everything on, or you can hit the minus key to get rid of it. All right. Now, we've said all that stuff. Before I move on, any questions about what setup needs to be done and firm preferences and staff profiles before we go to create a time entry and start talking about the value tab?
I've only had one question so far come in the Q&A and I was able to answer it. So we're there. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So a couple of things with time. If your cases are set up to automatically start billing time, you're going to have this time entry up here. So you can hit start timer. So if you hit start timer, it's going to automatically start a clock for you. I can go in here and I can just put I'm testing, and then I can choose my L code and I can choose my A code. You know, L and A codes are linked to the insurance practices. So I can hit start. So this is basically a placeholder where it's going to start billing my time for the action that I am doing. Once I complete that, I can hit the stop button. Once I hit stop, it's going to bring up my time entry. It's going to show I'm the person doing it, the time I did it, how long I did the action. Let's say if I forgot and I want to change this time, I can go in here and I can change my time. I can add my additional notes regarding my entry. And when you're in this screen, if you're using this timer up here and you want to create this as a note, I can say add note. If you guys notice, as I'm typing, we do have spell check within NEOS. So I can change the spelling of that. Once all this other information is actually all preset for me, now that I'm finished, I get hit save. And when I hit save, it is going to create my time entry for me. Okay, so again, if I go here and I'm in my time entry, and you know it's Murphy's Law. Okay, so we're just gonna go there and we're just gonna go back into this case again. I'm gonna go to the case and I am going to go down here. So again, we want to go here to this criminal case. And my time entry is here. And when I go to my time entry and I look at all my times, what I just did is right here. And if you notice, because I have this automatic timer set up, it is continuing to create an entry for me. All right. If I want to create a time entry alone, if I hit add time, I'm going to bring up this screen here. So this gives me the basis of my time. I can go here and I can start with my L code. Now, when you're thinking about L codes, if you're not an insurance defense firm and you just do, say, criminal law and you want to pre-populate some of your descriptions, you can come up with your own codes, but Neos does come pre-built with the L and A codes from the insurance company and carriers. So I can choose my A code. And if you notice, as soon as I hit that L code, it automatically checks this box as billable. Your LNA code is going to automatically check that billable time. All my other information is complete. Because I'm doing a manual entry, I can go up here to my duration and say that I've been working on this for an hour and 30 minutes. As soon as I enter my duration here, it's going to take my hourly rate and times it by that, which gives me this total of $142.50. So when I hit save, it is going to save my time entry. Again, the two ways you can have the automatic timekeeper up here. Once I choose that, I hit my, my L code. Notice, as soon as I hit my L code, it automatically makes this billable. Enter my A code. My description is pre-filled out based off of my L code. I can create a note that will appear on the Notes tab, and then I can hit save. Okay. Any basic questions about how to enter a time, whether you're going to use the automatic timer or create a time entry by itself?
We're good right now. The only question I do have is I have noticed that if an entry is not billed, the note will not show up.
So two things. If you're adding the time directly from this screen and you hit this plus key here, it will automatically create your note for you. So if you're doing a manual entry from the time tab, it's going to automatically create the note for you. If you're doing it from the automatic timer, when you hit the stop button and you choose the L code, it automatically marks it billable. So this L code here, the task code, is what makes it billable. Now, if you're a firm that's not going to be using the task codes and activity code, you would just have to hit the box that says that it's billable. And again, if you want to create a note, you create the note as well.
Hey, Pam, one question that we have is, will you address the difference between time and attorney fees?
Okay, so your time and attorney fees are the same thing. It's just how you identify it. So when you're billing time, it is actually time that is billable, whether it's an attorney fee or it's a paralegal. In the system, an attorney fee would be related to like maybe a settlement. So when you're doing billing, your value code should reflect time. So when you create your invoices, it's going to populate appropriately. Did that answer your question?
I believe that's got the answer.
Okay. All right. And I see somebody asking about the hourly rate. Can it be changed per case? It's generally set up based off of your cases itself. So if we go back here to settings and go to firm preferences and we go to time and billing, your default rates can be set through here, the case type. So if I go here and I go to your case type and I go here to the case types here, just remember all this information is set up. So when you're here on the tab setup, you want to make sure that your time is turned on here. Now, if you go and look under your preferences, not preferences, sorry, your staff profile, you can set up your staff profile for default rates. So if I go in here and I choose my name and I go to
Yeah, I had
time and
answered that
billing,
actually earlier. Yep.
sorry, time and
No,
billing.
you're good. You're good. I answered it on a side question, so you would have never known that I answered it. You're good.
Okay. Right here, you can set your default rate for the person, and then you can set default rates for your task. Now, when you're in a case, if you are doing a specific case, it's not that way. But the next thing that we're going to talk about is billing clients. What does that mean? So let's just say I'm going to use insurance companies because they're the most famous. All right. So I'm going to go here to my address book and I am going to choose my State Farm. I use State Farm all the time. So State Farm is somebody who we work for. So if I choose State Farm Auto, and then I go directly to their billing rates here, I'm going to say that we want to enable the billing rate. So by default, the billing rate is, $150 an hour. Down here, I can say, with the exceptions of certain people, and if I have my permission group set up, I have my law clerk set up, so I can say law clerks, their rate is $100 per hour. I can save that. And then let's say our paralegals, their rate is different as well. I can say, pre-lit staff, their rate is $75. So anytime that anybody who is within that group bills on it, it's going to say the attorney rate's 150, the law clerk's rate's 100, and the pre-lit or paralegal is going to be 75. Once I hit save, it's going to allow me to choose State Farm, and it's going to say that State Farm is a billing client. All right, so I'm going to go back to my case, and I'm going to go to the case tab to ensure that this case gets these billing rates. On the case tab, I go to billing client. When I go to billing client, I get to choose State Farm Auto. So what that means is State Farm Auto, those rates will be here. Once I make that change, I'll be able to save it. And once I can save it, anytime anybody bills on this case, they will have the State Farm Auto rates. All right. Are we good to move on, Eric, or do I need to answer questions?
Yeah, we've got a couple questions. How do
Okay.
we assign rates by client? And I believe we did that with the provider.
Yep.
We have the same case types with different clients, but the rates are specific to each client. I believe you covered that in adding the provider and those things, being able to change it there. Yes.
Yes.
And the next one is an anonymous attendee, but our rates are different for new cases versus old cases, and it won't have the new ones. Each biller is already set up, but it needs to be per case. Some cases are 400 and some are 350. All of our clients are individuals, so we need to set up billing exceptions for each client. For each client, we separately. Each paralegal sometimes has a different rate along with each attorney that entered time on that particular case.
So whenever you change the rates, it would be the rates moving forward. So when the person is entering time on the case, so if they're on the case and they're entering time, when they're entering time, they have that billable rate here. So if they know, they can actually change this billable rate. And when they change this billable rate and they hit save, it is going to update the time. It will recalculate your times down here and the amount. So it went from 147 to 151.92.
So Kelly has asked a couple questions. So the rate cannot be changed per case, only by case type. Or do you have a billing? Do you use, or you have to use a billing client rate?
Right.
I'm correct in both of those. Yes.
Yep.
I cannot find the path you referenced. And she went through it too fast. David Webster said, I don't know what path he's talking about. David, if you could tell me what path you're referencing.
Okay. I think he made. All right. Again, I'll go through this again. If you are setting up rates for a specific client, you're going to go to your address book. You're
Yeah,
going
he
to,
found it. Sorry. He said he found it.
okay.
He said he found it.
All right.
And I just have 3 more questions if you want to go over those. If not, we can keep going and I'll try to answer them.
Okay.
You
So
tell me.
let's see. What are the questions? I got time for one more and then we got to move on.
Okay. We need to bill clients on an hourly basis. Also, we have attorneys that add time on a 2-week basis and not daily. We were told to enter this time for a different day to use the value tab because the service dates would need to be changed.
Okay. So let's say you forget. Or we'll take that scenario. Your attorney enters their time once a week. They would go to the case that they need to bill on, and then the time tab, and they hit add time. When they hit add time here, you can change the date of the entry.
Correct.
And then you'll still do the same thing that you did before. So you can change the date. It's going to populate your rates and all that other stuff they put along how long they were working on the case, and then they hit save. So your
And
rate.
the big thing that come out of that too, Pam, is as long as they're entering a time, if your time entry, you're keeping those time entries, and she followed up and said, we bill monthly. If you're doing it and say the 28th is your cutoff or the 29th is your cutoff, and everybody has to have their time in by the 29th, if you're running billing on the 30th or the 31st, it's going to grab all the time they've entered.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt. Back on you. No more questions.
No, you're good. Okay. So now that you're ready to bill your client. So I'm just going to do this one first, just from this record. So I want to bill all of my time on this invoice. So the way we have our system set up right now is we have to go approve all this time before it's going to be submitted. So if I hit submit, it's going to submit that time, and then somebody has to approve that time. Now, remember when we were in settings and over here on firm preferences, when we were talking about time and billing, and I said down here, some firms will require people to approve, disapprove their time entries. So that's what this does. So if I was to turn this off, I don't have to approve everything, but if you want everything approved, you have to turn this feature on. So if I go back to my case and I have submitted my information, now I want to approve it. I can approve it. And once I approve it, now I'm able to bill off of it. What does that mean? If I go here to invoices and I want to generate a new invoice, so I go invoices, new invoice. I want to include my fees and my cost. Who do I want it to be billed to? And then I hit save. So what that just did is it took the time entries that were approved already, and it's going to bill those. Once I create my invoice, because I have my approval status, I have to submit it. Once I submit it, it's saying, hey, are you sure you want to do this? After you submit it, you can't edit it. So I've edited it, and now I want to approve it. Now that I approve it, it actually creates my invoice. Once I do that, I can go up here and I say I want to download my invoice. So when I say download my invoice, I get to choose Do I want it to leads? Do I want it in PDF? Do I want it in Word? I'm going to say PDF. I can say all descriptions can be caps, and then I want the staff summary at the bottom. And then I hit download. Once I hit download, my invoice is going to be downloaded. I'm going to select on this, and it is going to open up my invoice. It pulls in my firm logo, who it's being billed to, who it's from. It's going to give the dates that the entry was done, the description of what was being done, my rate, how long, and then the amounts. If I had cost, my cost would populate here. Here I have my subtotals. And then if I had made any reductions, payments, or adjustments would reflect here. And this is the total amount of the invoice due. That was a lot, and I went through it quickly. So let's back up. I'm going to go back to my value tab. The reason I didn't choose everything is because I want to do it a second time. Again, once all your time's entered, if you have that feature turned on where you have to approve everything, you select the entries that you're wanting to submit for approval. So you would select those two. You hit submit. It's going to submit those. Once I submit them, I select the same ones and I approve them. And then once they're approved, if I want to generate my invoice, I go to invoices, new invoice. I want my fees and cost again. I'm going to say who it's being billed to. It's giving me my amount, and I hit save. My invoice is created for these specific entries. Once I say, okay, this is ready, I want to submit it. When I'm saying submit, approve, and stuff like that, is some person has to go in here and approve all this stuff. They have to approve all the time entries. They have to, make modifications if need be. So now that I have my invoice submitted, I'm the person reviewing it and say, yes, this bill is ready to go out. I can hit approve, and it's going to approve my invoice. Again, if I want to download it, I hit download invoice. I choose how I want it to come out and hit download. And when it downloads, it's going to show me my downloading up here. Choose this is the invoice I want to look at. Again, it has everything on here that my other one did and what the amount is due. Now, does it matter if you have where you have to approve everything? It is firm preferences. I'm going to go back here. I know I still have some time entries that I haven't submitted and stuff like that. If I don't want to have to submit and approve every single entry, I go back to my firm settings, firm preferences, time and billing, and I'm going to take that off. So once I hit save and I go back to my case, I'm going to need to do refresh. Remember, I just did an admin setting, so I want to refresh to make sure everything is going to update appropriately. Now, because I don't have to do all the approval and stuff like that, the screen kind of looks a little bit different. Now that I'm ready to invoice these last three, I go to my invoices. I hit new invoice, my fees and cost, choose who it's going to be, and it's giving me my amount, and I hit save, and it is saving my invoice. So if you notice here, all of them have been saved. If I wanted to select all of them, we can, you can download them. Because we don't have the submit and approve turned on. If I hover over that, notice that I get the circle where it says it's not needed. And then here, if I wanted to download all of them at one time, I could. All right. Any questions between the two of being able to download an invoice, how to create an invoice, whether you have the option to do the submit and approve? Any questions, Eric, or are we good to move on?
I'm good. We're good right now. I am just going through. I've got one last one I'm working on,
Okay.
and then we're golden.
Okay. All right. So how do you get paid? Well, there's a couple of good things we can do that. So once somebody has sent an invoice out and you receive a payment for it. So if you want to go in here and say, okay, Ellie submitted her payment for $213.75. I can go to my three dots and I can say, download it. What are we doing with it? So if I'm ready to go here and open it, because this is the specific invoice that she has paid. When I open it, I can say add payment. When I hit add payment, I can say where is it coming from or where is it going to. So we're going to be sending this money to our operating account. Once I choose my operating account, I can hit save. Once I hit save, this invoice is going to show that it's been paid. If I come out of it, notice that this invoice says it is paid. This is when you guys just accept payments over the phone, by credit card, whatever. However, we have this great integration with LawPay. So I'm going to reintroduce Miss Abby. So at the beginning of the webinar, I said that Abby and Eric from LawPay is here. Miss Abby is going to kind of give you guys an overview of what LawPay is and stuff like that. Abby is the customer enablement manager. So Miss Abby, I will let you take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, I am the customer enablement manager. So my team handles onboarding and helping train anybody who signs up with LawPay or adds a user to their account, anything to learn about how to use LawPay. And LawPay is an online payment solution for legal professionals specifically. Our service allows you to get paid quickly and conveniently by your clients. And with our system, you'll have the ability to take payments virtually anywhere and provide your clients with a quick and easy way to pay you, especially using the integration here. And LawPay is not only a payment processor, but we specialize in legal payments. We're endorsed by all 50 state bars and ensure that attorney trust accounts are handled and billed in accordance with those regulations. We also have an amazing support team and are always looking for ways to make it easier for attorneys to get paid. So I'm really happy to look at this integration with you, Pam.
Okay. All right. So like Abby said, we do have an integration and it all goes back to our settings. So we're going to go back to settings and we're going to scroll down here to integrations. When you hit integrations, you have our integration panel. So we're going to go straight down to LawPay. So in this system, we're already connected to LawPay. I'm going to do a switch and bait, and I'm going to bring up a different system that it's not set up in. So we're going to go here to integrations, and I'm going to go down here to LawPay. And when I select on LawPay, if you are not a LawPay customer, and it's something you guys would like to look into, Abby and Eric will be sending everybody an email afterwards. So if you would like to set up a call with them to get a full demo, you can do that. So when you come to LawPay, you're going to say connect Neos to LawPay. If you have an account, you're going to choose this. If you do not have an account, you would choose this option. Abby, you want to tell them about signing up with LawPay?
Yeah, so that'll actually bring you to our application to go ahead and set up an account with LawPay. It'll ask for some of your business information. That does need to be filled out and signed by an owner. So just make sure you have their information that's shown on the screen there available when you go to fill this out. And then as soon as you complete the application, your account will be set up within 1 to 2 business days, and you'll receive a welcome email to go ahead and start processing. And then my team, the customer enablement team, will reach out to you, and we have trainings available where we can help set up the integration. You'll also receive a video link demo to walk you through this integration to help get it set up as well.
So once you have a LawPay account, you're going to come back here to your integrations and you're going to say, I already have a LawPay account. You're going to select on the LawPay account, and then it's going to ask you to sign in with your email. And then you're going to put a password in. Once you do that, of course, you can remember my email and hit sign in. Every single time that you sign in to your LawPay, it's going to ask you to do this. And it might help if I could type.
Yeah, and once you set up the integration, you're just going to need to log in once to connect it, but you can always log into LawPay separately as well, but you'll just need to do this setup once for your account.
Okay. Now that I've did all that, notice that my connection status went to active. Now that I'm connected with LawPay, I'm able to process payments using LawPay. So if I go back to my case and I go to my invoices, these are all my pending invoices. So if I want to send somebody this invoice through LawPay, I'm going to click the three dots and say send LawPay. So when I hit send LawPay, it's going to ask me, do I want to send it through LawPay? I'm going to say yes. And then it's going to ask me, you know, what account do you want it set up to, who the LawPay contact is, and who is the recipient. This is all set when you guys are setting up your LawPay, and that's something Abby and her team will help you guys set up. If I want this to go to somebody separately as the copy, I can choose their name here. It will automatically go to the person, and then I get to choose all the information. If I want all caps description, update issue date, and staff summary. What does this mean right here? What this means is if I ran this invoice on Monday, but I'm not sending it until today, it will show the invoice was sent today. Once I do that, I hit send, and it is going to send this invoice out to LawPay. So what happens is the person who is to get the email, they will get an email. And I'm going to bring my email over. The person who needs to pay it is going to get an email that says, you know, your company has sent you a payment request. You will get to see the attachment here. So I can select this, and it is going to open up the invoice for me. So I get to see my invoice here, what needs to be paid. And then if I go back to my email itself, I can finish paying through that site. So here I can view and pay. I hit view and pay, and it's going to take me to their secured portal. Abby, do you want to talk about y'all's secured portal when it comes to receiving payments?
Yeah, so this is going to be an outstanding bills screen that the client will see so they can pay multiple different bills at once. For example, if you have one set up to go into your trust account and one to your operating, that's all set up on the back end where you selected which bank account you'd like it to go into so they can pay all of those at once. You'll see here they can also download that invoice from this page as well. And then once they select the invoice they'd like to pay on the left-hand side, they can go ahead and enter a payment. And we do offer payment by card and e-check. So card is American Express, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, or an e-check would be with a bank account. So either checking or savings, and they would just enter their information to go ahead and pay this bill.
So I'm just going to choose this information, and then we can choose whose name is on the card, and then we would put this card number in. So I'm going to put a card number in. It is a fake card number. So just let you guys, it is definitely a fake card number. So, and then it's going to give an your security code, your expiration date, and the year. And then again, I'm doing this by a card, but if you were doing it through your bank account, you would say pay with e-check. And then I hit pay now. And then you're going to get this notification that payment has been processed and a receipt is on the way. So what happens is once the payment has been processed, the cardholder is going to get an email showing that the payment has been paid. As soon as I get that, I will show you guys the receipt, but it's going to be an email just like we did initially when we were sending it out.
Yes. And then the law firm will also receive a copy of that notification that a payment's been made.
Okay. Now once a payment has been processed, what happens in the system? So what's going to happen is this invoice is going to reflect that it has been paid, because that payment is linked directly to that invoice. So if I go back here to my invoices, notice that my balance due is 0 now. And if I was to double click on here, it's going to show me that payments have been made. Now, let's say that you needed to do something else. Let's say they needed to get a refund or something to that nature. That's when we can go and do a couple of things. You can contact LawPay to figure out the easiest way to do refunds back to from your account, and then push it through that way. All right, Eric, any questions about LawPay?
We're golden right now. We're good. I've been trying my best to keep up. One of the questions that did come up earlier was bulk. So I know that's on the list, and I hold it. So I was holding them off.
No, we don't want to do bulk. Okay, actually, that's where I'm getting ready to go into now.
That's exactly why I'm trying to set that softball up for you to hit.
Yeah. Boom. Okay. All right. So if you want to bill in bulk, what is the easiest way to do that? So we have been working individually on each one of the specific cases, right? But if you want to go do everything in bulk, you're going to have to make sure that your staff has access to the accounting tab. So when we were talking about earlier, when preferences and stuff like that, you want to make sure everybody has access to the accounting tab. So if I go here to the accounting tab, it's going to show me your checks, deposits. We're not worried about that right now, but we want to talk about time. Here, you're going to see all the time that is available in the whole system. Once you're looking here, you get to see all the time for all the cases. It's every single case, you know, different people, different cases, everything. If I want to go create invoices, I can go to invoice and I want to generate invoices. So if I hit create invoices, I can do a couple of things. Remember when we were talking about if I wanted to bill all State Farm, I can choose State Farm. And I am going to be able to choose my State Farm company. And then I can do my date ranges. So if I want to do, you know, say back from 2008 to present, and I hit OK, it would bring up anything with this and within this time frame. You're probably thinking, why isn't anything coming up? Because I probably chose the wrong State Farm. So you just have to make sure that you're choosing the correct company. Okay. But let's just say that you're choosing specific, you know, cases. You can select all your cases that you want to bill on, and you hit generate. When you hit generate, it's going to create invoices for all those cases at one time. All those invoices are going to be here. You can go into each one of them, review them. If you had turned on the option to approve and stuff like that, all those invoices will be here where you can approve them all at one time. If you just want to see invoices, you select over here and it's going to show you the invoices. You have the option for statuses if you want to see draft, due, overdue, pending. So we want to see ones that are due, or we just want to see ones that are in draft form. This right here would show you all invoices that are in draft form. So you can bulk by just the date range. Again, if I go back here to time and I hit, you know, your time here, or if I want to go generate invoices, if I hit generate invoices, Your date ranges is probably going to be what's going to be the biggest for you. So you can choose this date range, choose the cases that you want to bill on, and then hit generate. When you hit generate, it would generate all the invoices in this screen. So generating them all at one time is pretty easy. Let's just say you decided that all of them are ready to be downloaded. You can select all of them. You can hit download and it would download all 50 invoices at one time. How do I know 50? Because right here it says I have 50 selected. All right. Questions about how to bulk invoice? No?
Is there any way to change rate per biller in bulk on time tab within a particular case?
So you're talking about going here and going to the time tab.
And changing in bulk the rate for you. Say that's you.
No. You can
No,
copy to
there's
another
not. There,
case.
yeah, I didn't think
Yeah.
there was a way to do it.
Yeah. There's no way to do that. You would have to go to each one and, you know,
Make
update.
those entries.
Yeah.
Jason's got a couple of questions. One of them is, yes, we billed a client for fees and multiple costs. The payment came in from LawPay. However, the payment is evenly divided into costs that are not even amounts, and it is locked the value code items in Neos with the payment divided as to each cost incorrectly, showing an excess and amount due. We cannot change the locked value code items. We need support on this between the two platforms and the integrations. We would definitely need to talk to product about it locking those value codes out.
Right.
Yeah, Jason, we definitely, I would encourage you to get, let's get in touch and see if we can get you in touch with our product team and see if they can't get that resolved for you. And then Jason also said each entry would have its own invoice. I believe all the invoices would come in, so you would tell it what entries you want on that invoice.
Right. So when you're doing bulk billing, it's date ranges. But if you're specifically only wanting to bill specific information on a case, you would need to go to the case and then go to your tab, your time tab, your value tab, and then go to invoices and choose what you're wanting to bill from. Because it's all based off of your what hasn't been billed or specific entries that you're wanting to create.
All right, Samantha Author asked, is there a way to generate multiple leads files from multiple invoices at once? I don't believe that's capable.
Currently, no. But I know
Yep.
that's something that product was working on with a couple of insurance defense firms regarding that.
Yep. The next anonymous attendee types, it was available to do when we first got Neos, then that ability was taken away. I don't know what the ability was or what it is that you were talking about. Just know, everybody, that I'm getting a 50, 60 questions coming in. And if you're doing back to back, I may not see them. So please reference what you're talking about in that message. Because when all I get is it was available to do when we first got Neos, then that ability was taken away. I don't know. Bulk rate changed. Okay. Bulk rate change was able to be done. All right, there we go. I will definitely check with product and see if they made that adjustment or change.
All right. Well, we're coming towards the end, so what we want to make sure that we definitely go over is our support portal. There have been some new updates that have been made in the support portal. So anywhere that you're in Neos, when you're going up here to this question mark, when you hit this question mark now, if you're on the party tab, it's going to give you some suggestions of maybe you're trying to add a party. And if you're trying to add a party, you can click on this knowledge base and it will take you directly to the knowledge base. If it's not any of these items, you can always go to the support portal. Depending on where you're at in the system and what you're doing, we're going to go ahead and give you some suggestions. So previously, you would go to the support portal, you would type in what you're looking for, and then would pop up. Now we have created additional features wherein when you're on a specific tab or in a specific field, it's going to make suggestions for you. So now that they have pinned this information to the support portal, to go to this specific knowledge base, you would hit the button that says that, and it's going to directly take you to this specific item. So we're going to go back over here and we're going to go back over here to the value tab, and I am going to select on invoices. So I'm here talking about invoices. If I was to hit this question mark, it is going to talk to you about, accessing the value tab, adding value items, entering value entries, and even give you a video regarding adding value items. If these are not any of the information that I want to see, I can hit the support portal and it's going to take you back to our normal support portal. Just remember, if there were any recent updates to our program, you're going to get this fly out panel and you can select on the blue icon. It will tell you what has changed since the last time you had visited our support portal. If I go back here, I can hit the close and it's going to close it. You have your frequent asked questions. These are the questions that have been asked the most. You can see, who's looked at them, how many people have viewed them. And then we come down here to our knowledge base. This is the full knowledge base that you guys are already used to. Again, if you select on the knowledge base, it's going to bring up the knowledge base and it's going to give you all of our articles. If you hit the caret here, you can choose what article you guys are wanting to look at. To close that, you close that screen. We still have the enhancement. What's new? Everybody remembers our Neos University. We encourage everybody to go and do our Neos University. We have a user and we have the admin. You just select on it. You can say new user, or you want to take the admin course. Remember, once you guys complete these courses, you're going to get that Credly badge that you can put on your social media. I'm going to go back here, and then we have our on-demand webinars, our learning hub. We have access to the Outlook add-in, the Word add-in, and our QuickBooks integrator. If you need to get support, you can click on the support button here, and it is going to pop up submit a ticket. Enter your full name, your email address, your company, and a contact. Please make sure you guys are filling this information in. It helps our support team identify who you are, who they need to call back, and an email address. In the subject line, you want to put, what you need assistance with. And then in the description would be a full description of what's going on. If you guys had taken any screenshots or anything like that, or had a video, you can upload those here. Once you fill in all this information, you hit submit, and then it submits a ticket to our support team. All right. Again, if we go back to the question mark, this is the new feature. You hit the support portal, and it's going to take you back to our support portal. And then down here at the bottom, if you need to go over this again, we have a video that you can play that talks about the support portal in general. I know I went over that quickly. I didn't go in as depth as Miss Lauren normally does when she's on this call, but I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but I do see a couple more questions coming in. Eric, is there anything that questions?
I'm still typing away, and Jason, I got your email, and I must start looking into that now for you. And he's also got a couple. Is there a way to attach your detailed bill from the time tab, attorney timesheet legacy, to the invoice and send it using the integration?
So
I
Abby,
don't
that may
believe there's a way
be,
to add any
I mean,
attachments to the
I
integration.
don't
Abby,
think, yeah. So Abby, what they're asking is they have an old invoice previously from another program, and they're wanting to use or using LawPay, and they're trying to figure out the best way they could send both invoices to the client and get it paid.
Yeah, that's not possible through the integration currently, but it can be done directly in LawPay if needed.
there you go.
Okay.
If you use the full integration with LawPay, where does the paid invoice get saved after the client pays using LawPay?
Right. So once the invoice has been paid, if I was to go here to this and I hit download the invoice. Is that, let's see, I want the one that's paid. So here I want to download the invoice. I want PDF and I'm going to say download. If I go here, it's going to show that it has been paid. So if you go back to the invoice that you sent them, once it paid through LawPay, it puts that a payment of $213.75 has been paid. So the invoice is showing zero due. So it just updates the invoice showing that it was paid.
And when you're doing invoicing, Pam,
Yes.
one of the firms that they were talking about, they do the bulk. Can you show
Yes.
where you can do that date range, please?
Sure. So if I go back to the accounting tab and I go to invoicing and I hit generate invoices right here, here is my date range. And this is going to pick up any time or cost that has been entered within this time period that has not been previously invoiced and bring it into your invoices.
And Jason asked, what do you do if it was invoiced with LawPay and the client then pays you directly by check?
Yeah, so that's a case where you'd want to do manually recording it as paid and go ahead and deposit that check into your bank account. LawPay does have the e-check ability, so your client could pay using their bank account. But if they mail you a check, we recommend still depositing that as normal into your bank account. And then you can provide your client with that LawPay payment option as an option in the future to use the e-checks.
And that's our time.
Yes, it is. We are right at 1 o'clock. We want to
Yes.
definitely thank Abby and Eric P for being here with Eric and Hill and I today. We appreciate you guys this time. If anybody has any questions that is outstanding, we will definitely get back with you. Again, if you guys need anything, we're always here, and make sure you sign up for our June Neos Academy. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.